What's in ayahuasca? Why do people take it? How do they take it? And what happens longer term? These are big questions, but not if your name is Helle Karsik, who tackles all of these in one PhD. Sacred medicine from the forest, chemical, psychological, and spiritual aspects of ayahuasca. I'm going to summarise several years of work for Helle, several weeks of work for me, in about 10 minutes for you, okay? So Helle organised a summer school in Estonia a couple of months ago with Luis Toffoli from Brazil, and that's where I picked this up. Do you know, in Estonia, you get state funding for your PhD, and they print copies like this for you to give out. So awesome. So Helle collected over 100 samples of ayahuasca from across the world and a variety of different traditions. She then analysed them and compared the results, which I'll pop up on screen for you here. Now, ayahuasca is a boiled up brew of two main things. Number one, the smashed up ayahuasca vine. Number two, the leaves of the chacruna bush. Brewing those together gives you a sludgy brown liquid that contains DMT plus some of the psychoactive things we call Harmala alkaloids, which are MAO inhibitors. Basically, their job is to make the DMT active in the body.
Oh, it's on? I should start, yes? Oh, my name is Harmala alkaloid. I seek partner with strong, strong chemistry for long walks in the infinite oscillating multiverse.
Hello there, Harmala. I am Dimitri. Your one-way ticket to the spacious, the spangled, the sparkling, and the sublime. Why don't you go ahead and slide into my DMTs?
Across ayahuasca samples, Helle found a huge variability in the overall amounts of each of these key chemical aspects and in the ratios between them. Some brews didn't contain the two ingredients that I mentioned at all. Others had additions and substitutions that you wouldn't expect. Brews created outside of long traditions of religion or indigenous use, these neo-shamanic ones, they're particularly inconsistent. So, if you're buying ayahuasca, try and find out what's in it before you trust the medicine. If you do want to show your thanks, please doff a like and a subscribe towards the channel. That'll help others to find it amongst all of YouTube. Beyond all that chemistry magic, Helle also did semi-structured interviews with 60 ayahuasca aficionados in Estonia over 4 years. She analysed those interviews with Philip Mayring's take on qualitative content analysis. Here's something of what people experience on ayahuasca. And I've machine translated these quotes from Estonian via Google, so, you know. There's sacred geometry and kaleidoscope worlds, themes of death and rebirth. There's snakes, disco balls, snakes made of disco balls. Could be tricky to find a visual for that one. And the experiencer transforming viscerally into their older or younger self or other animals and beings, which is a core shamanic practice. For example, quote, I could feel all my muscles like a panther moving straight down the hillside. I was picking up speed all the time, unquote. You know, it reminds me of the time I gave birth to myself as a baby jaguar. I was pregnant with what later turned out to be myself, sort of difficult pregnancy. About 20 minutes of being really confused about whether I was the one being born or the one giving birth. I gave birth to myself, and then I was prowling around the floor of the ceremony space, not really knowing what you meant to do as a jaguar. Some describe ayahuasca as a person. Here, a sort of agent of healing. Quote, the plant is so smart, it's the only one that can access the DNA. He gets through and layer by layer, he looks for places that no longer breathe as they should, at a cellular level, unquote. People also report meetings with other beings from religion and folklore. That could be angels, fairies, gnomes, elves, saints. Elsewhere, participants experience oneness, unity, universal love, and celestial harmony. Quote, "It was like maybe the deepest experience of love I've ever had in my life. It was such a deep experience of bliss." Unquote. They also report challenges of navigating in this space. Hella says, quote, "The flow of visions can be tiringly intense. Vivid visions change too quickly and chaotically without the seer having time to delve into them or make sense of them." Unquote. There can also be flat-out horror. Quote, "Excruciating physical pain, cells all over the body seem to be on fire." Unquote. I think a good summary of this celestial oneness mixed with cells on fire is heaven and hell. Indeed, one person here says, quote, "I would call the first night the biggest hell I've experienced in my life, and the second night the biggest heaven I've experienced." Unquote. Wow, so that was the qualitative data. But Hella didn't stop there. Oh no. Hella also collected psychometric surveys plus a neuropsychiatric interview and interactive psychological tests from 30 ayahuasca drinkers in Estonia. She matched those with 30 in a control group. I'll try to keep this a short summary. Why do people take ayahuasca? Psychological healing, self-knowledge, spiritual development. How do people take ayahuasca? Well, mostly in neo-shamanic group settings, rather than sort of formal religious or shamanic ones or one-to-one. What happens longer term? A healthier lifestyle, healing and self-knowledge. People make psychological adjustments, such as overcoming fears. Scores for depression and anxiety average lower in the ayahuasca group compared to the control. Satisfaction with and happiness about life averaged higher in the ayahuasca group compared to the control. There was no deterioration in the well-being or psychological capabilities of the ayahuasca group. Hella adds that participants are not generally trying to escape their life or this world, but get closer to it, to experience their life in a more spiritually connected way, more consistently. Finally, there were a couple of difficult experiences in the data for the ayahuasca group, fainting and falling during ceremony, and reports of physical and emotional suffering afterwards. Hella outlined the prejudice and stigma she's faced as an ayahuasca researcher. One peer reviewer rejected one of Hella's articles from this research, saying, quote, "The police should be called," unquote. One attendee at a conference said to Hella that meditation was just as good as ayahuasca for most people. Another accused Hella of sending demons to torment her. Hella ends her thesis with a heartfelt plea for greater access to ayahuasca, combined with what she calls reasonable regulation. Okay, if you found any of this video helpful, please help others to find it with a like and a subscribe. I reply to all comments because I have literally 5 subscribers. Actually, I gained 40 new subscribers with the last video and now I've nearly got 100 subscribers. See you in the next video or the next life, depends what happens.